What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. So today I have a little impromptu shop video for y'all. I was encountering a slight issue with my backpacker sheaths and decided to film me troubleshooting that problem, identifying why it was happening, and then tweaking my design and updating it to fix that and make a better quality sheath. So I think we got it figured out. It's kind of an interesting video. Nothing super flashy, but there's a lot of good tips and tricks in there if you're interested in Kydex work, and then a little behind the scenes on how I work in the shop when I need to work on designs or tweak stuff. So, anyways, enjoy. Hey, so back from Blade Show, and I noticed an issue on my backpackers. It's with the sheath that I hadn't noticed before with my prototype. And the prototype, I was getting these wear marks. This is covered in like a paint. It's a Dicom. But I was getting these wear marks on the blade in different spots. And I thought it was because this one, I'd gotten it full of dirt. There's no drain port on my original sheath. And that was what was causing the rubbing. But when I got back from Blade Show, I was taking a look at some of these, and like, you know, some of them are great, they're fine. But then a couple of them had these little wear marks on them. And I was like, what the heck? Like, where is that coming from? I thought it was smudge, and it's not. It's actually like a little wear mark. I'm like, oh, the sheath's touching it in that spot. So I did some further investigation, and since I'm forming these, they're fitting like my normal sheaths with like a small air gap. These are adjustable retention, and when you even just tighten this screw down just to hold it in place, it's moving that Kydex in just enough that it's rubbing on the sheath. So I was like, well, I need to fix that. The other thing that I don't like about these ones either is I've been doing like a full length drain port on there, and I'm not a huge fan of the look. I think that just it coming off the tip looks a little better, so I adjusted that. And then this one, I put a bigger air gap, so more layers of tape on the blade. I put a bigger air gap, and now it works good to where it's not rubbing. So there's some rattle in the sheath, and I want to get rid of that. And so I was kind of racking my brain, and I reached out to Jonah from Doughboy Blades, and he gave me some great tips and showed me on his sheaths where he like has a little indentation that makes contact with the edge of the blade. And then I also saw in a TJ Schwartz video where he has a drain port as well, how he gets those contact points to prevent the rattle up at the tip of the knife. So thanks to both those gentlemen for their tips. I'm going to attempt that, and I'm also going to attempt getting the spacing wider on this. The tricky part is this knife sheath is meant to run with or without the scales on it. So I think if you're running it without the scales, it's going to have to pinch on the blade down here. So I can't create the air gap too much, but I don't know. We're going to see. We're going to see if I can gap it out on the edge, and then maybe it touches up here. I don't know. We're going to have to play around with it and see what will work to make it so we're not getting that rub wear on the blade, because that's not ideal. Yeah, it's just... So I'm going to try doing a pretty big air gap on it just as an experiment. And we're not going to put... We're going to get contact points up here at the tip, and we'll do a sacrificial sheath on this one and see how it goes. See if we can figure it out. Okay, we got it taped up. So I have 5 layers of tape on the blade coming, you can see the line here, coming out to about there, and then just 3 layers on this portion, and then 1 layer on the handle, and none up here at the tip, so I get good contact points, 2 contact points here. to prevent any rattle. Drain port stick is in place, and my standoff there. So we'll see how this works. I don't know if it's going to work without the scales on it. It should work just fine with the scales on. And then here is this blade has a mild harpoon to it, and so you have to have something to prevent the Kydex from forming in behind there so it doesn't get caught when you draw it out or push the blade when you're drawing it out of the sheath. So I just use a piece of leather, but you could 3D print in something. You can cut out a piece of MDF, or I've even used Q-tips before. So anyways, we're going to press one. We'll get it all made up and then test it out without the scales on and see what happens. Here's the second revision with the tape configuration that you just saw. You can see it definitely indents more up here towards the tip. So that should eliminate the rattle. So I recoated the blade with some blue Dycom this time. We're going to slip it in. Okay. So those rub marks are on the steel underneath the Dycom. That one, I'm not sure. So we're going to cycle this in and out of the sheath quite a few times. Rattle's gone. So that tape trick worked. We're also going to look for wear up at the tip. I'm not seeing wear like on the flats. That's where I'm worried about it. A knife is going to get some wear, especially in a Kydex sheath. It's going to get dirty. It's going to get wear with use. But I don't want it to automatically have wear coming to the customer. Just from them taking it in and out of the sheath, it shouldn't get wear. I need to adjust my divot here. It's a little stiff. All right, let's take the scales off and see if it works in there. Okay, handle scales are off. I am getting some wear. I cycled it a whole bunch through the sheath, so I am still getting a little bit of wear here. I'm trying to figure out exactly where that's coming from. I think it's just something right in this area, you know, where it's sliding past it. So something on the plunge area, something like that. So anyways, we will space that out even more, but here it is without the scales on. So let's see what the retention is. So it doesn't snap in quite as nice. That works pretty good. I thought I was going to have some rattle back in here. And I didn't tighten this at all. So I didn't adjust the retention before putting it in without the scales on. So this dimple here is what prevents it from coming back out. It has to slip past that. And there is going to be wear on that dimple inherently from sliding in and out. So it doesn't snap in super nice, but yeah, there's some rattle there. Yep, I got some rattle back here. It doesn't want to come out though. Bummer. All right, I tightened this down just a little bit. There's still a little bit of rock in the sheath, but like the sheath itself doesn't rock. It is super secure. It doesn't want to come out. But now that that's pinched in, it is going to cause some rubbing. So I don't know. I don't know what the correct answer is here. Because if I move the retention portion to the back of the sheath, it would squeeze in back here. But then you're going to get wear. up here on the spine and on the flats right in front of the scales. I don't know. Good try it. It works really well. I mean, it holds it nice and tight. It's pretty dang good. It just causes a little bit of wear on that blade, which is frustrating, but when it's loosened all the way up, it doesn't cause wear on it. There's revision 3. I added quite a bit more tape along the edges. So you can see a mild bump out. It's less noticeable in person than it is on camera. So it still looks pretty good. But, let's see here. No rattle when shaking it. Definitely should not. Oh, and I did not put any tape. I just put one layer on the flats. So that was the difference. I did tape here, one layer, and then I did a whole bunch to like build this up and basically take it away from this area. So no rattle. That's good. Adjustment screw is just tightened to where it's there's no slop in it. It's basically just attached. All right. I'm still getting rubbing. I don't know where the fuck that's coming from. So revision 3 fits really well. There's no rattle. The spacing down here has kind of helped, but I'm still getting rubbing in one spot, one tiny little spot. I'm like, what the heck is going on? I've spaced this out equally on both sides. I don't get it on this side. But it turns out this dimple, that's the retention piece for when it doesn't have scales on it, when I put it in, you can see it shifts it over to that side. And that's where that rubbing is coming from. And it's hitting the sheath, so there's like the depth about when it starts to get pushed over. It's hitting the sheath about right in this area. So I cut one apart to see. Here, let's make a mark with a pencil. It's about right in there. I cut one apart to see what was, if there was wear marks or anything. And you can see there, right there is definite wear mark. This is revision 1. And there was a lot of rubbing with that one. But yeah, right there, which is right about where the hole is. And sure enough, we're right in line with the hardware hole. So I think the thing is on this side, I'm going to have to build up more tape to space this side out. So when it gets pushed over, it's not rubbing against anything in that spot. But man, that was frustrating figuring that out. But sometimes if you got an old sheath and you're running into that problem, cut it apart and you can kind of see what's going on the inside there. So on to revision 4. Let's see if that works. I'm going to do it on one of my actual ones that I'm selling, not this prototype, because I think I have it figured out now. And then we'll go from there. Here's the revision ones on the prototype. I just did one for one that will be available. So this is one of the Odie Green Grip Tech ones. Anyways, this one you can see underneath there, that's where that little mark is. This one was rubbing. So now I put additional layers of tape on this side, 2 additional layers than I did on the other side. And yeah, anyway, so. All right, so fit up is good. There's no rattle. All right, I'm liking that. We're just gonna cycle it in and out of the sheath a bunch of times. We're not gonna be careful about it because someone that's using your sheath is not going to be careful about it. I mean, they should. You don't want to hurt yourself. But yeah. All right, so we're cycling it in and out. It is pushing it over to that side. All right. No rubbing. Awesome. All right. So I think we got that figured out. I'm going to refinish this one, make sheaths for the other 6, refinish that got any marks on them. And yeah, so I'm kind of bummed that I didn't catch it with my prototype. I thought it was just wear from getting dirt and crap down in there, because I did beat the heck out of this one, but it was kind of twofold. There was wear from dirt and also wear from the Kydex. So if you have purchased a backpacker from me already and you're encountering that wear issue and it's bugging you, please let me know. Send me an email or send me a DM, and we can coordinate getting that sent back to me for refinishing, and I'll make you a new sheath. So I apologize for that, but I want to make it right and give you a good sheath combo, sheath knife combo. So yeah, send me an email or shoot me a DM, and we'll get you taken care of. That's a wrap for this one. Kind of an interesting project that I figured you guys might want to tag along in the shop with me and see how I troubleshot that issue, and the tweaks that I made to the design features of the sheath to make it even a better product. So the sheath is running really well. It's not causing wear marks in the center of the blade anymore. There are areas of it that will wear over time where the finger guard passes the retention dimple. That is going to rub and wear over time, but that's inherent to this knife sheath design combo. If you were to tighten this retention screw quite a bit, I think you still could compress this down enough that it would cause some rubbing. But I can't gap this out any further and keep it rattle free. And in all honesty, you shouldn't be tightening that retention screw that tight anyways, because it would make it impossible or extremely difficult for you to unsheath and resheath the knife. And that goes for even when you're remove the handle scales and you're running it skeletonized in there. You really don't have to adjust this retention screw, or maybe you just have to adjust it a little bit to get it to hold well and run properly in there. I'm kind of bummed at myself that I didn't catch this during my prototype testing, but I realized that when I'm testing a new design that I'm making, I'm looking at functionality and performance-based tests. And I realized that not everyone buys a knife to beat the crap out of it, and that some of you buy it just because you really like the look of it and you want to keep it looking nice long-term. And I should dedicate a portion of my prototype testing to just you carrying this every day, using it for light tasks and not beating it up, and just assessing the wear that occurs through that normal light carry, and that way I could catch an issue like this before the knife is released. So like I said, if you're one of the handful of people that already has one of these backpackers and your sheath is causing that issue and rubbing and it's bugging you, please don't hesitate to reach out to me. We'll get you taken care of. We'll refinish your knife and make you a new sheath, so you don't have to deal with that issue anymore. I'm continually trying to increase the quality of my products, and running into little snags like this is bound to happen. But I've learned a lot through this process, and now I feel like I have a better quality sheath, and my other sheaths will be a higher quality as well. I appreciate your all's support, whether you're watching my YouTube videos or you're buying one of my handmade knives. If you have any questions about my knives, please drop them in the comments below. And if you're interested in buying one of them, please go to my website at northedgetools.com. You can find all my available work there. I have a number of different designs and different knives that are up for sale. Thanks for watching, and we'll catch you in the next one.